Hello, everyone. Welcome back to When the Night Comes. Now, we are about to break into the dungeon to go find Aya, but first we need to enlist Finn as a part of our troop that's going to be going in. And that's pretty much all I remember. It's a new day today. Also, my hair's a mess because I just woke up and I was way too lazy to shower. Look at that. Look at that. Look at just how much that sticks. That's so... Oh my God. Okay. Sorry. I'm done with that. Let's actually start today. You're just gonna have to deal with looking at this. Let's go ahead and try to find Finn, and then we'll work from there, shall we? The incessant. Love that I can't even read two words in. The incessant drip, drip, drip of water guides me forward through the darkness. The stench of damp and decay fills my nostrils as I sink deeper into the corridors of the catacombs. The pitch black path is long and winding, and the only sound I hear is the tap of my boots on the wet stone. Eventually, I see the candlelight flickering ahead, and it would appear that I finally found life. Well, kind of life. I remember to look for the third door on the left, just as Ezra instructed, but when I approach it, I find it wide open. Well, that's a lovely little home. I peek inside, and the stark contrast between the literal tomb outside and what I find is most definitely Finn's quarters is astounding. I love the black and gold trim, dare I say. That is lovely. I mean, the skull, on the other hand, a bit creepy. I don't know what you're doing with that, but whatever. Before I get the chance to take in the view, a cool breeze brushes past me, ruffling my hair and sending goose flesh, also known as goosebumps, prickling across my skin. Hello, girl who's definitely not Finn. A small, darkly clad girl appears before me in a flash, her eyes the brightest crimson as they bore into me. She stands with her head tilted and a toothy grin crossing her lips. Are you lost, human? No, I'm looking for somebody. She stares me down, wide-eyed and quite clearly trying to intimidate me, but she seems playful. I'm here to see Finn, my friend. My friend who's definitely really cute and whatnot. Oh God, he's gonna see me like with this hair. This is terrible. She relaxes at the sound of his name, and her striking gaze sweeps over me like a caress. She shrugs, pursing her lips. So you're the one he won't shut up about, huh? Well, you do smell good, I guess. He won't stop talking about me. I think we need to talk about that a little. Also, I smell good? That's kind of a weird compliment. Is Finn here? She licks a fang, and I notice how similar some of her more human quirks are to his. She's far less poised than him, but I feel almost that maybe on purpose. I'm in Finn's territory here, neutral territory, so I quell the desire to be defensive, even though her eyes are the color of a creature who drinks human blood. He's somewhere here, around. Would you like to be more specific, madam? Doing stuff? Okay, would you like to be more specific, madam? Unless he's drinking blood, that would be a weird thing to walk in on. She's very helpful. Her smile widens and she turns to poke at a crystal decanter of whiskey that sits nestled in the corner of one of the many bookcases. Is it by the school, perhaps? Are you part of the clan? A quick nod, almost too quick to catch. I am. She pours the rich amber liquid into a glass, swirls it, sniffs it with dramatic grimace, and sets it aside untouched. Were you not gonna drink it? Her nose is still crinkled and barely disguised disgust when she looks at me again. I wish that thing you were looking for would stop killing hunters, because that means the more of your type will come. Then more enforcers, and that's the last thing we need in this shitty town. I hear footsteps, loud ones that echo off in the stonework in the hallway. Finn, thank you for showing up, and hi, you're looking rather lovely. Ddog! I suspect he knew I was here, but his shock is charming nonetheless. He looks at the girl, who throws him a decidedly wicked, wolfish grin, the picture of innocence.
Raven, are you being nice?
Ooh, your name is Raven? That's definitely stereotypical. The girl, Raven, shrugs, sliding up to him and resting her head on his shoulder. She rolls her eyes hard enough that I'm surprised she didn't fall back into her skull. Yes, Dad, that is your daughter? Sir, you have to tell me these things. I need to know these things. Finn's face drops, his eyes narrow, and I get the impression that he could blush. His cheeks would be the prettiest shade of pink. I stifle a laugh, and with obvious delight, Raven notices. Raven? She laughs, the sound loud and obnoxious, but somehow still charming. She shoves him playfully, but Finn remains stern. Are you going to introduce me to your friend? The suggestive waggle of her eyebrows doesn't go unnoticed, and Finn sighs heavily, offering me an apologetic smile. Ddog, this is Raven. I'm his kid. There's a low, exasperated rumble of a warning in Finn's throat, and I find myself enjoying the way he bristles in her presence. Finn throws her a death glare, and she proceeds to look guilty, but just a little. He raises a single dark brow at her and offers a quiet scoff. She enthusiastically steps forward and offers me her hand. It's really nice to meet you, Ddog. This guy hasn't stopped gushing about you, so thanks for giving him something new to mope over.
I do not mope.
Raven rolls her eyes, and I finally take her hand. Her grip is firm, and I wonder if she might be trying to unnerve me with her startling eyes widen exponentially. Hurt him and I'll eat you, got it? I open my mouth to respond, but before I get the chance, she's laughing again. Finn looks mortified, and he carefully pries her hand from mine and ushers her towards the door. Time for you to go, I think. Raven pouts, raising both of her hands in defense. I was joking, obviously. I like him already. She offers me a little wave and rises into her tiptoes to press a kiss to Finn's cheek. He looks at her with an unabashed fondness, a smile creeping upon his lips. Go, say hello to Lux for me and be good. He runs his hand over his shorn scalp and swats at him playfully, scoffing much like a teenager would at an embarrassing parent. I'll do more than say hello. Bye, Ddog. He gives another disapproving rumble, and Finn almost looks like he wants to chase her to administer another pep talk, but he stops himself. And with that, she's gone, the door slamming loudly and shaking in its frame. Before I confront him, two things. One, if you end up liking this video, click the like button. It makes me really happy. Secondly, I don't know if that's a deal breaker or not. Here's the thing. In real life, I am very much against having kids. I don't want any. So if I was to find someone who had their own kid already, I don't know how I would feel about that because I've never thought about that scenario. If I'm given a choice between Finn or like Omen, for example, the demon who's definitely more of a younger person, how would I feel about that? I'd probably pick Omen over him, right? Finn groans, running an iron hand over his face as he walks to grab the whiskey Raven had poured him. She's interesting. He sips his drink.
She's a pain in the ass is what she is. But I suppose she's my pain in the ass. I sired her, so she's my responsibility. She jokes about me being her father, but I suppose I am, in a way.
So it's not her kid? His kid? He takes a small sip of whiskey, savoring the taste for a moment before he speaks. Though I prefer brother. Father makes me sound so old. That's exactly what I was saying. If he's not his actual, so not an actual kid, it's more of like he took care of her, which is a little better. His laugh is charming. Yes, old. She tends to look after me much more than I look after her. She's a good kid. I'd be lost without her. I nod, observing him quietly as he sets down his glass. Sire bonds are powerful, and it's interesting to observe such a casual, healthy dynamic. Did you choose to turn her? He frowned, shaking his head. Well, no, not exactly.
It's complicated, but I made a choice that I'll have to live with forever. Literally. I'd seen too many die at the hand of my sire, and something about her struck me. He planned to leave her for dead, but I couldn't let that happen.
So they both got turned by the same person, which would make sense that why he feels more of a brotherly than a fatherly thing, but he also took care of her, which would make sense why she feels more of a fatherly thing than a brotherly thing. Okay, all of that checks out. He smiles, and it's painfully earnest.
We're kindred spirits, I guess. As much as I have regret for cursing her with immortality, she's the closest thing I have to a family. Now, what brings you to my neck of the underworld?
Or he's the one who turned her. I guess maybe that's what that means. I guess the person who turned him was going to leave her for dead. So he turned her to save his life. Or he turned her to save her life. Okay, sure. He leans back against his desk. Sure, we can flirt a little bit more. I don't know. I feel bad flirting with both Omen and him. I think I'm just gonna ask for his help and not flirt, and we'll flirt with Omen. Omen's gonna be our choice. I like him the most. I need your help. I have a plan, and I think I might need your help to execute it. He tilts his head, curiosity obviously piqued. A plan? I do love those. Tell me what I can do. Don't you want to know the finer details first? He shrugs, running his tongue over his bottom lip. Makes no difference to me. I trust you implicitly. If it means I can help you in any way, I am all ears. Just tell me where you need me. Piper and I are going to attempt to break into the dungeons beneath HQ. His pointy ears flicker, almost flattening against his head before they put themselves to rights. He can't seem to mask his surprise nor his apparent interest. The dungeons, He whistles, scoffing his boot against the stone floor. I can help you, but I may have a favor of my own to ask you if you're bold enough to venture down there. I narrow my eyes at him, contemplating if I want to tangle myself into yet another web. What is it? He pushes away from the desk, standing tall.
An important member of my clan has gone missing, and I'm positive that they have him. As I'm sure you know, any trust for the enforcers is wavering. I want my friend back. He's done nothing to warrant being thrown in a dungeon.
His hands ball into fist at his side, his prosthetic flaring brightly before it fades into its usual dormant, dull glow. How do you know they have him? I don't. They have an excellent defense system that prevents any of us from detecting him, no matter how close we manage to get by. He would not just abandon us. He's either detained or dead, and if it's the latter, I just want to know. You're sure he wouldn't just leave? Your clan isn't like others. Maybe he wanted a change. He looks frustrated. He runs his fingers through his hair, leaving it messy.
Fiero wouldn't just leave. I know he wouldn't. I trust him more than anyone else in my clan, even Raven. We both suffered at the hands of Levi for centuries. We were healing from that together. He was the only friend I had when I was with Levi, and he saved me more than once. I owe him this. If he's ash and bone in a forest somewhere, then so be it. But if he's okay, then I must save him. The only family creatures like me have are the ones that you find, so I intend to keep them safe as long as I can.
Okay, that makes sense. And honestly, if I'm already going down there, if I see like a vampire all locked up, I'd be like, hey, are you Fiero? I got a person who wants you back. Come with me. Ask about Levi or ask about Fiero? Let's ask about Levi first. The information on Finn's sire is sparse outside the fact that he was notorious and cruel. I wonder how such a seemingly kind man would have ever followed him that long. Call it morbid curiosity. You mind talking about him, about Levi? Finn grimaces, folding his arms across his broad chest, his posture losing its usual confidence. I suppose. I take a seat upon his bed and he pulls out his desk chair. The first thing I can ask of him, let's try that again. The first thing I can think to ask of him is loaded, but I need to understand. Why did you stay with him for so long? He looks at me wide-eyed for a beat before he manages to formulate a response.
I don't know if I can answer that. I still truly do not know. He was good at making sure you had nothing left to go home to. So he was all that I had. I'm not the kind of man who does well with loneliness.
A wry smile crosses his lips, but Finn looks impossibly sad. What did he take from you? He swallows thickly, casting his gaze to the side.
Everything. He took my fiancé, killed him right in front of me before he took my own life. I was an orphan, and I didn't exactly have many friends. Gabriel was truly all I had. He destroyed our home, all of our memories, even took my name from me. He took it all, and he did everything to make sure that I needed him. I followed him like a lost puppy for centuries.
Did you ever try to escape when you found others? He nods.
Many times. I had a few periods of freedom, but he always found me. He tended to collect vampires with abilities like Fiero and myself. Maybe to make up for the fact that, aside from his advanced age, he was truly unremarkable.
And now he's dead and you're free. You seem to be managing well for someone who's endured all that. He sighs, rubbing the back of his neck with his iron hand.
I'm trying to shape myself into the man I always wanted to be. Before the whole being undead thing. I try not to dwell on things that happened to me. I was bitter for long enough. but I cannot change any of it. All I can do is be the opposite of what he wanted me to be.
I smile as I observe him. I register how comfortable I feel in his home, the thought of stepping into the den of a clan before all of this would have set me on edge, but now, you're doing a great job, Finn. His mouth curls into an earnest grin. Thank you. I gave you permission to kick my ass if I ever dare step out of line. Duly noted. Ask about Fierro. Why do you think they would take Fierro specifically, if you're so sure he's innocent? He shrugs, clearly quite confident in his theory. Because he's valuable, he's an empath, a powerful one. If he saw something he wasn't supposed to, or even if they just managed to overpower him and get him alone. I rarely let my clan members patrol by themselves, regardless of our supposedly stable relationship with the enforcers of this town. But I was stupid, and Fierro is a good sweet talker. He sensed someone in distress in the woods, so I allowed it. Therefore, if anything has happened to him, it is my fault. Finn prides himself on being the opposite of his sire, and I can see that this is eating away at him. You can't place the blame on yourself you didn't know. Plus, if he is as valuable as you say he is, his eyes light up when they meet mine, his fingers twitching upon the surface of the desk. Then they could be using him so he's still alive. I smile in return, tilting my head this way and that. Well, alive-ish. He's a vampire. He laughs and I can't help but join him. So you'll check for me? I nod. I will. So what you'd like me to do exactly? Well, no one knows this town quite like you. I was hoping you'd have some secret little passageway tucked away for me to use. There are wards and other nasty little tricks in place to stop people like you, like us, getting in. I'll worry about that now about your passageway. His grin is wicked and I think I have my answer. I'm just your guy, just say when and I'll be there. If you need anything else, just come running. I bid Finn farewell, and now I only need to find one more friend. I saved the most stubborn one till last. Gonna go to Alcar, I assume? Alcar is waiting for me when I return to the wolf. It doesn't surprise me anymore when I catch his eye across the tavern where he's been nursing a mug of ale, clearly pouting. That the pout disappears when he sees me surely counts for something, though the way his lips thin instantly makes me think perhaps not. He gets up, movement slow and deliberate, and I remain by the door for a moment, wondering if hilariously he's somehow trying to not scare me.
Took you long enough. Was wondering if the bad shit got to you.
Nope, only the good shit, aka demon. Anywho, do you need something? Yes, actually. Alcar rubs at the back of his neck and gives me a critical once over, frowning deepingly. Then he glances behind his shoulder at the sparsely populated tavern. The 3 or 4 people lounging about seems deeply engaged with their own conversation, but I nod in understanding. My room? Alcar barks a short, scornful laugh.
So your superior can come knocking on the door and catch us? Not a chance.
Well, where would you like to go, sir? Do you have your own puppy den? That was a weird way of phrasing it. Are you saying I'm trying to ambush you? He frowns at me, his tail flickering and then going still. His voice is low and steady when he answers. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm not keen on taking chances right now. Tell me you agree. As much as I loathe to abandon the promise of a horizontal, not a bare rock surface to lie down on to close my eyes and try to process the day, he is right. And if Alcar has any information, any more at all, I want to hear it. I need to hear it. Although, all right then, where? The woods. Oh God, yes, because that's such a safe place to go. The deep dark woods where I stumbled across a nasty youngling no more than a day ago. Alcar rose his eyes.
Would you prefer the graveyard where those damn Woodridge twins can probably hear every word we say? Not all of the woods are dangerous. I would know. I live there. Now, I ask that you trust me.
Oh, of course. I'll be nice. I incline my head in understanding and step aside, inviting him to take his leave through the door first. Alcar doesn't move immediately. He stays where he is, his arm crossed, and he regards me with a strange expression. It's not unreadable, but almost as though he doesn't quite know what expression he should be making. Is something the matter? You're one trusting motherfucker, aren't you? I scowl at him. You and your friends in this lovely little town aren't giving me a lot of choices. I expect another eye roll, a scarf, a dismissive wave. Instead, Alcar inclines his head, and there's something almost like guilt in his grimace. Let's go. Okay, to the woods. Lunaris is a cold and lonely shell of its daylight from tonight, and I almost have to run to keep up with how quickly, though sure-footedly, Alcar moves through the back alleys. The chill sinks into my bones, and unbidden, I wish I wasn't there. I wish I wasn't here. I wish I wasn't following a half werewolf into a dark unknown towards more mystery. Omen's confession is still ringing in my ears, and so do many other things. Do you know that Omen is... Alcar shakes his head, his wolf ears flattening. Not here. Another turn, and we've stopped behind the town's boundary. Trees loom above us, moonlight flooding through the bare branches to afford us some light. Alcar leads me to a little further away until the roof of houses are barely visible, then turns to me.
A little while ago, I got into a fight with one of your hunters.
He jerks his chin towards the town.
Well, not one of yours exactly, I suppose, since you just got here and all, but one of theirs. Some bloke. Don't even remember his face all that well.
Alcar pauses for a moment, rubbing at his chin almost nervously, his eyes narrowed, but then he shakes himself of it and continues.
It was during a full moon. I had an argument with my sister. Didn't go well.
He grimaces at the memory.
And when I transform, especially if I'm upset, my control isn't as good as it could be. But I know I didn't kill him. Would have damn well remembered that. If you ripped a man apart with your own claws and teeth. But when I came to, he knocked me out, I guess. You hunters and your annoying little gadgets. Your enforcer friends were already swarming over us like hornets. But there was no blood. Not mine, not his.
That doesn't mean you didn't hurt him. Alcar gives me a look.
Okay, smartass. The point is that he vanished. Poof. The enforcers, dragged me off to their fun little dungeon and kept me there for fuck knows how long. A week, I think. Maybe more. And then they just poked and prodded me a bit. Then they let me go. Felt like they wanted to do more. Like they had plans for me. But maybe it was too dangerous to just snuff me, I guess. I know too many people. Ezra, Finn. But here's a question for you. What do you do when a creature hurts a hunter so bad he apparently isn't walking around anymore?
Okay, so obviously full moon, he transforms, he goes and attacks a guy, and now he's dealing with the consequences of that. Well, he dealt with the consequences of it when they locked him up. I don't know how he got out, though. Did he mention that? I don't know if he did. I pressed my lips together, nothing pleasant, I know that much, assuming the creature in question was allowed to escape with their life at all. But sometimes they are let go, marks that are too delicately tied to the order of things to be freely snuffed, as Alcar had so elegantly put it, but surely if he wounded a hunter so terribly he would have still been in the dungeons, that's what I'm saying. Perhaps Finn or Ezra parlayed for your release. But Alcar is shaking his head.
They didn't. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you hunters don't get retirement leave till you can't walk on two legs anymore. And even then...
Well, there are always prosthetics. Alcar barks a sharp, bitter laugh and shakes his head, but neither he nor I find humor in it, I know. He's quiet for a moment, running a hand through his hair, messing with his clothes, fidgeting, nervous. I step back a pace to let him collect himself. No use pushing him for anything now, not when he's already so open with telling me everything he knows. I didn't kill that hunter. I didn't. I wouldn't forget something like that, and enough to never do it by accident, never. Alcar's frown is deep, and his words are as quietly fierce as they are pleading. Okay. Then what happened? Like, what if... I mean, I believe him, but I don't know. And I'm not supposed to trust everybody, so I'm going to say what happened. Then what happened to that hunter? Do you not know who he is at all? Alcar scowls at me, though his tail swishes back and forth in chagrin.
There's enough of you lot running around this place, and I don't keep an eye on everybody, okay? Especially not that one, I guess. Since I don't even remember his scent that well. Must have been forgettable.
A small shiver goes down my spine, a hunter who isn't well remembered or well known vanishing so thoroughly. It won't be the first time, it won't be the last. My rank weighs like a burden on my soul. Hunters wield power, and after all, with the power comes politics. You make it far by being good at what you do and by keeping your head down to one degree or another, or you find a clandestine way to make your quarries, or you fuck up and you disappear. But what politics would this forgettable man have served? Lunaris doesn't suffer from intricate power balances. The Lieutenant General reigns supreme, and really that's it. Does Lieutenant General Addington know of this? Yeah, I think he was the one campaigning for my release. So I owe him one, I guess. Ah, of course. Addington, most of all, wouldn't have wanted to destroy peace with the local creatures. Until he has a surefire way of removing them with impunity anyhow, I suppose. I have another question. Were you aware that Omen comes from hell? Alcor frowns at me, then squints, then snorts. Of course, where else would he be coming from? The general store? I mean, okay. I hope he doesn't hear the sound of my teeth gnashing as loudly as I hear it, but with the way his ears suddenly stand up at the cackle, I know he's seen something. I meant, did you know he's the son of the literal devil? You were the one who didn't ask. You weren't giving me a chance to, as I recall. Alcor crosses his arms and tosses his head, and his grin is a temptation to put a fist right in his face. You were gone a whole night with him and you didn't ask? We were occupied doing... I stuttered to a halt. No, what we do is not for him to know. It isn't his business. Too busy admiring the tongue. Okay, sir. You're an asshole, first of all. But I mean, it is true. Are you going to taunt me, or are you asking for a fight? This will be a note. This will be the note the night ends on. Alcar laughs, then leans closer to whisper wickedly. Don't worry, everyone has the same reaction. Then he chuckles and leans away, signifying that the conversation is at an end. See you tomorrow? Where are you going off to so soon?
Back into my hovel before the big, handsome vampire comes to scold me about staying out in the cold. What else?
And excuse my nosiness, but you look like you've seen some hell yourself, not just the prince of hell. I frown, and that obviously rattled, but now that it's been said, I do feel the building headache behind my eyes, not from the ghost of James alone, but from, like, everything. Alcar is staring at me again, tilting his head this way and that, and making a show out of squinting at me. Yeah, definitely looks floored, fit for bed. Well, don't stray too far. I might need you tomorrow. I have a plan.
A plan, Well, don't worry too much. I'll be a stone's throw away, whether you like it or not.
When you need me, you need me. Until then, later. He disappears into the tree line as sure-footed as ever, and once again I'm left alone in this damn forest. I begin to make my way back to the wolf, my mind reeling again, and it almost seems to be these days. Though I feel hopeful, my plan seems plausible, the little team of misfit helpers I've managed to assemble more than capable of carrying it out alongside me. Wow, this music is loud as fuck. I think. No, I know it's loud as fuck. I smile to myself, feeling a little lighter. Then, a rustle, something moving in the tree line a little too close to the edge of town for my liking. Does it mean wait for it or advance? I'm gonna advance. I step forward, my footsteps quiet and assured as I advance back through the thicker forest. Another rustle, closer this time. Then it lumbers into view. It's hunched over and misshapen with long, gangly limbs that look out of place on its relatively normal-sized body. A single twisted horn grows out of his head, and I spot 3 eyes. The third seems new and underdeveloped, and it melds crudely above the existing left socket. It's covered in patches of scraggly fur and scales, and in some places its skin is entirely burned off, an amalgamation of mismatched parts and pieces that look like they don't belong. That cloudy gaze meets mine, and merely looking at it gives me a headache. There's this weak demonic aura that makes my body beg for me to look away. Then something hits me, something that makes me hesitate to draw my weapon. I cannot place this feeling of complacency, of ease, and nor can I fight it. Is this how my comrades were killed so easily? Does it have some kind of power over us that makes us freeze, become immobile? Or is it the dull ache of familiarity that settles in my gut that makes me pause? The feeling that I shouldn't harm it, that it deserves empathy, mercy. It opens its crooked jaw, melded sinew and mottled skin, stretching and splitting to reveal a set of violent, jagged teeth. My body screams at me to fight, but my feet are firmly planted and stuck to the forest floor. My fingers don't move. My weapon is still frustratingly safe in its holster. It takes a purposeful step towards me with a low, rattling groan, its teeth bared. My heart races as I stare into its unfocused eyes, all three of them blinking out of sequence. There's a loud ringing in my ears, and I've never felt like this before. My instincts are screaming, pulsing, dying for me to do something. Anything, and yet I can apparently do is stare down to my bitter end. Then, something washes over me. In a split second, I gain perfectly blinding clarity. Run. James. The creature takes another step and howls, a broken, blood-curdling screech. Run. I listen. Pick your route. Oh, man. I believe this is a romance pick, and we've already decided who we're going to. I don't want to go with Finn because he has like a weird daughter thing that I'm not fair. August has already bit the dust for me. Hated Piper to begin with. Alcar kind of fell through at the end there with him being a dick. Ezra is cute, but not my choice. I'm gonna go with Omen. As though my body already knows where to go, where I want to go, my feet carry me towards Ezra's shop, towards where I hope Omen will be. I don't look back, and I do hear the rustle of trees and the creature's maddened aura fading. It's heading back to the woods. The town is safe. For now. Around the corner, my feet sliding on the icy cobblestones. Well, I think that's a good place to end it. Little short episode just for us. We got some information from Alcar and Finn, and now, next time we're gonna meet up with Omen, and I don't know what's gonna happen from here. Gonna go fight into things? I don't know. But if you like this video, please click the like button. Man, I need a drink of water. I am very confused here. Okay, goodbye everybody.